Hey there, today I'll be showing you how to draw Sylveon from Pokemon. So I'm going to start with the left eye. I'm going to draw the top curve for the upper eyelid. Starting from the left, we'll curve up and then down. From here I'm going to connect those 2 points for the bottom of the eye with a flatter curve. It's not as steep as the top. Starting on the left side, we'll curve down and then back up on the right side. Let's go ahead and draw the exact same thing on the right. We're going to leave a gap in the center. We'll go up to the top and then down on the right side. We'll connect those 2 points with that curve on the bottom. So let's draw the highlights inside the eye. So on the top right corner of the left eye, we're going to draw an oval. Starting from the top, coming down, and then back up to the top. We'll draw the same thing on the right eye. Nice, even oval. On the corners of these eyes, where the top meets the bottom, we're going to draw these little sort of darts, these little points that stick out on either end. And we're going to make sure that they're filled in black on either side. Let's go ahead and draw the nose. In between the eyes, in between these 2 points, we're going to come down just a little bit and draw an inverted or upside down triangle. We're going to draw a little line across, and then the point coming down to the center, and color that in black. And for the mouth, we're just going to come down slightly and draw a curve from left to right, just curving up. From this point, before I draw on the head, I'm going to have to draw on the bow tie, because the bow tie sort of overlaps the jaw of the character. So we're just going to come down a little bit here and draw a point. From here, we're going to move down even further and draw another point just below it. And then we're going to curve out, almost that looks like a bow that looks like a little butterfly. So from the top, we're going to curve to the outside on the left. And now we're going to come down in a curved angle, coming down to the bottom. We want to make sure that this point is lower than that center point. And then just curve that right up. Do the same thing on the right side. So curving out to the right, curving down and towards the left in an angle, making sure that these 2 points are the same height. And I'm just going to curve in on an angle to the center. From here, I just want to draw that little highlight in the center here. So from the top, I'm just going to curve to the bottom. And then on the right side, we'll go from bottom to top. Now that we have the bow tie, we can go ahead and draw the outer perimeter of the face. So in between the eyes again, we're just going to come down to about here and draw a center point. From here, we're going to curve up above the eye and then down to about the same height as the nose. Starting up here, on the left, we'll curve up. We'll curve around the eye and then coming down, just like so. And then from this point, I'm just going to curve in towards the bow tie. Let's go to the right side and do the same thing. So curving up above the eye, coming down around the eye to about the same height as the nose, and then curving in underneath the bow tie. Now that we have that, we're going to go ahead and draw the bow tie on the top right side of the head. And it's basically the same thing as this, just angled slightly this way. So we start with the bottom point here, and then that same distance, that gap, we're going to go up in an angle and draw another point. Now from here, I just want to draw the top curve first, curving up in an angle. Now we're going to come back in an angle towards the eye, and then pull that right back in with a short curve towards that bottom point. Let's go ahead and draw that same thing on the right side. So again, we're doing this in a slight angle this way. So I'm going to curve out towards the right, round this out, and curve back in towards the left, and then round that off and back in towards the center bottom line. We want to draw these little curves, starting from the top, curve to the bottom, and then again from the top, we'll curve towards the bottom. Now that we have that, now we can imagine from the side of the face, this is going to curve up to the top of the head, behind the bow, and then back down on the right side here. Kind of like a curve like this, but we're going to start on the left side, and we're going to have to work our ears in. So I'm just going to be conscious of a curve that goes up to the top of the head right about here. But along the way, so I'm just going to draw a curve like this. I'm going to draw a couple hair tufts, curving out. And we're going to do one more. So again, imagine this curve. It's going to come back to about here, curving out, and then back in. Now, if I can imagine this curve for the top of the head right here, I'm going to leave a gap here and just close off the top of the head with a curve. Now that I have that, I'm going to draw one ear up here in this direction, pretty long ear. I'm going to start from this point and curve up. Curve up like this. And then we're going to curve back in the opposite direction slightly. From here I'm going to do an overlap and do a longer curve going up, rounding off the tip, and then now I'm going to pull this back in towards the top of the head. And you can see that there's a little overlap line here. From this tip, from this point, I'm going to draw a curve for the inner ear detail. And in the opposite direction, I'm going to pull this back, right back to that starting point there. Let's draw that same ear flipped over on this side. So just behind this bow, so I'm going to start right here. I'm going to curve out. I'm going to make sure I get roughly the same length ear on both sides. Round out the tip. I'm going to pull this back in the opposite direction. So it's curving this way. Now I'm curving the opposite way. I'm going to do an overlap and just do a little slight curve out. Now I'm going to round this out and pull this back in behind the bow. Right there. Let's draw that inner ear detail. Now you're not going to see the point at the bottom. It's going to start right about here. Going up. I want to make sure that, again, that they're roughly the same height. And pull this back in behind the bow. Let's go ahead and finish off the side of the head. So from this bottom, I just want to curve it up behind the bow there. So I'm just going to pull this line down like that. Let's go ahead and draw in some of the ribbons. So there's one that sort of swirls up on the top behind this bow up this way. So I'm just going to do an S curve or a reverse S curve. It goes kind of like that. From this tip, now the ribbons have rounded tips. So it's just going to come back. I'm going to do a slight overlap and curve back out and up. Round this out. Now I'm pulling this back in. I'm going to follow this curve, but I'm going to get a little bit narrower as I come down to about here. I'm just going to pull this in and just come in. I'm just going to curve this back. Now I want to do an overlap to show that the ribbon's sort of twisted. Up here I'm just going to draw a couple lines. So curve here. We're just going to do this 2 more times. Evenly spaced out so we can add some color in there. And there's one more ribbon that comes out this way. And this one I'm going to curve up like this. So starting underneath this bow, curve up, and then just kind of out like that. When we go back down here, I'm going to do the same curve, but I'm going to get a little wider as I get to the end of the ribbon. So right like that. Now from here, from this point here, I'm just going to curve in and down. I'm going to take this point, do an overlap, and curve to the other point, and just round that out there. Just draw those little stripes on the end here. So starting right about here, draw 1, leave a gap, 2, same distance gap, 3. From this point, I'm going to work my way into the body. So now I like to start at the front and work my way to the hind legs. So the feet, I'm going to draw the body down to here, so the paws are going to come down to this point here. So what I like to do is draw the front paw on the opposite side, tucked in behind the front paw closest to us. So from here, behind this bow, I'm going to curve down the front leg. So curving down. Now I'm just going to curve this back in the opposite direction slightly, because the front of the paw kind of curves out the opposite way. From here I'm going to draw the front leg here, overlapping the back leg. So right about here, I'm going to overlap that point there. Now from this point I just want to curve out and then back. This is for the paw. And then what I do is I'm going to bring this back up to the thicker part of the leg. So going up, so pinching in as I come up towards the elbow, go out, and then I'm just going to pull this back in. Okay, so it goes in and then out as it gets towards the shoulder. Now the belly part, from this same point, is going to curve right about here. And I don't want to make the body too fat. So right about here, I'm going to draw a curve like this. Now you're going to see the back side of the front leg back here. So I'm just going to draw a curve just to show a little gap in between the legs there. Let's go back to this front foot. There's a little arrow detail in the front of the paw with an angled line and then curving this to the back of the leg. In the paw area, I just want to do 2 lines or 2 curves to split the toe into 3. Starting at the front, do 1 curve, move over here and draw a 2nd curve. You'll probably see a little bit of this in the hind leg here. Doing a little angled line and then pull that right back. Now that we've got the front legs, I'm going to work my way towards the back. Now the belly, I want to leave a little bit of space from the front legs to the hind legs. So this curve, I'm going to imagine going through the rib cage and then curving back. From here, I'm going to draw the front of the hind leg first. So starting at the top, we're going to do an overlap. Right here, I'm going to work my way down to the same height again. Okay, so from here, curving back, and I'm going to curve back forward like this, and I want to draw that same paw curve. So curving around, right like that. I'm going to pull this back up to about here. Now here's where I'm going to draw that little kink in the heel. So pulling it back. Now from here I want to curve up towards the hind to the back here. So I just want to make sure that I get this nice curve like this. So from here, I'm going to curve up to about that point here. So curving around and right into that point with a sharp corner. Now from here, I just want to imagine that curve going in. So from the hind, it comes down in the back and then back up towards the neck. So I'm going to start at the neck area and just aim down, curving this around, and just aim for that hind point there. Let's go ahead and draw this hind leg here. So we're going to take this exact same thing and draw it back here. Starting with that curve, starting up here, curving that in. We're going to round out the front, and then we're going to go into that paw. So drawing the round of the paw, like this, and then curving back up. Now we're going to do that little kink with a short curve in, and then rounding that out to the back. Let's go ahead and draw the little detail on each of the paws. So back here, straight angled line, then curving to the back. Up here we'll do the same thing. Straight line, curving to the back. Now we're going to draw two curves in the paws. One in the front, one in the back. We'll do the same thing in the back leg here. Now let's draw some more ribbons. So I'm going to draw one from this bow in behind it, curving down behind the legs and swooping back up here. So I'm going to start up here, curving out, and then back in behind the body. We're going to start up here again, and I'm going to go wide and then just come in again. So we want to show that this ribbon's sort of folding in. We're going to move up and draw a curve like that, just so it looks like it's twisted. Now you can imagine this ribbon coming around and curving out this way. So I'm going to draw a curve going out from behind the leg. We're going to draw another one curving out, and it's going to get wider as it gets to the bottom, or to the end of the ribbon. Now again, like we did here, I'm going to round out the end, come down to a point. From the other side, we're going to round it out and come to a point. We're going to draw those stripes. Now this stripe is going to go in the opposite direction, curving this way. Do another one here, and one more there. Now let's draw in the tail. So the tail is a big hook that comes up from back here. So I'm going to start from the tip of the tail and curve it right in to the back, like this. Now from here, from the tip, I'm going to curve back in. It gets wider, almost like a crescent shape. It goes wide and then back in. It doesn't actually go to a point. It kind of comes down to about here. Starting at the tip, curve around, and then stopping here, I'm going to do an overlapping sort of tuft of hair. So right here, I'm going to go up and pull this back, and I'm going to bring it right into about there. Okay, so we got the tail. Let's get into that final ribbon. This one's going to come around this tail and swoop around. Starting behind this ribbon, and go up, and then down behind the tail. Imagine this coming back down like this, and then swooping out. So just kicking out like that. From here, we're going to have this ribbon coming up. So right about here, and come up like this with a little curve. We're going to do an overlap, just like we did here, because we want to show it twisting around. Right here, I'm going to curve. It's a little bit wider. And then down here, we're going to imagine this going behind the tail and kicking out this way. From the tip, we're going to round it out and come into a point. Go out to this side with a curve and just round out that tip. Let's do a couple curves in here, just like we did here. So 1, 2, 3. And that's pretty much it. There we have it. There's Sylveon from Pokemon. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Please make sure you check out our Pokemon playlist. We have a ton of characters in there. We add more every week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.